Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the final race of the RaceFace TCR Championship in Iracing. Season 1 has finally hit this point where we're in our final round. Round number 4, going to be done and dusted. And what better way to go and round it out, especially here at Oulton Park. My name is Stephen Koenig, not in the box this evening, but sending his regards is the usual world's slowest alien, Yanneman Price. He's out in the bush at the moment. I think he's gotten lost. We sent a search party out for him, and, well, we'll find out later. But you're going to have to deal with me for this final round here at Oulton Park. 18 degrees temperature on the circuit. Partly cloudy, slight bit of wind. The drivers having to really push the boundaries of what they can do. Lots on the line for this race. And, well, talking about lots on the line, let's actually take a look at the current point standing of what's going. Johan Fourie currently leading out the points with Luc Lecchese, Francois Joubert, Paul Gerber, Tristan de Norbrugge, Yuri Swart, William Bertha, Werner Swart, Peter Joubert, Robbie Teenings. Now, you may be asking why that PPG is there. That is because on the SDK, where the guys fill in, they usually have a section where they put in their, well, what they like to be, what their initials are. That's where we see that. Moving on, though, down the line, we do have the likes of 11th place, Doug Gerber, Terry Opperman, Jean van Rensburg, Timothy Stanton, Arno Kraus, Richard Herring, Duncan Murray, Herman Lazarus, Etienne Swart, and Christopher Simmons. And rounding out through our championship, Vainan Kursop, Tinian Kube, Swayce Joubert, Devin Dalport, Devin Ellis, Jeff Hancox, who's not joining us this evening, but is joining us in the chat because he's doing it from work. So Jeff going and slacking off. He's down in 26th position. Then we've got Jono van der Heever, Christian Deploy, Gordon Hales, and Byron Mitchell rounding out our field. We currently got practice on the line. Times have been looking absolutely incredible for the drivers. And this is where it's going to get very interesting, as there's points on the line for every single one of these drivers to really push the boundaries. And let's see how it's all going to work out this evening for the action here at Oulton Park. Gotta say, it's a circuit that some enjoy, others not so much, but there is some new colors being worn, such as on Team Tryhard. Paul Gerber and Doug Gerber actually trying out some new colors, so unfortunately we won't see the usual Doug Gerber with the KFC colors, so we won't have Pepsi after KFC. How the legends have fallen. But we are seeing some fantastic racing coming out. Guys have been averaging roughly 1 minute, roughly about 1 minute 28 around the circuit here at Oulton Park. It is a slightly shortened circuit. It's the island circuit, not the international. So there is where usually you carry on going left, you land up going right. So it's something to get used to. And it's also what the BTCC was actually running earlier in the year. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we're going to be moving over to our qualifying, I'd like to give a warm welcome to everyone out in the grandstands. Good to see you guys here. I see you got Cameron Fourie saying Laka Terry, Krista De Jager. Also, yes, Terry Meneer, bring for ons die cup. He's too. I'm terrible at English. I do apologize. Now, something a little bit different to people that don't know iRacing is generally you go out one by one, and that's how your qualifying is. You're on the middle of nowhere and you race by yourself. Well, here at the RaceFace, we do something different. We put you all out on the circuit at the same time, like you would do racing, as we see one of the drivers trying to warm up his tires, bailing off into the middle of nowhere. Oulton Park being one of these circuits that you will go and fly around. There's Terry Opperman. He's getting chased down by Richard Herring, who's starting behind. Richard Herring is on a sequential shifter, but Terry Opperman, by far, I will have to say, has got the most support from you guys, the fans, out in the grandstand. So it's good to see that. Couple of guys jumping through. Hansi Myberg, Team Tryhard also going and saying, how's it, Dirk Coetzee? Lekker Afrikaans, hey, not English. Yeah. I think I'd need some lessons in terms of the world of Afrikaans to get it 100% right. Even my teacher decided, just put me out to the class, just put me outside, don't deal with him. I'm a Soti, unfortunately. But it is going to be an absolute race. So, a couple of things to keep an eye out. Jan Fourie, who is leading out the championship, is looking to go and lengthen his time. So, keep an eye out on him as he wants to try and pull away from the rest of the field and really get all the way up into the points. Now, 10-minute qualifying. It's all about getting those lap times in. Try get into the toe, move yourself along, and get going. Willem Botha also want to keep an eye out for the RDSA esports driver, looking to try and push himself out a little bit more. Paul Gerber, sporting the new colors, wanting to put it up to the front, and will do everything he can. Luc Lequesi has been working incredibly hard behind the scenes, and I also just want to give a bit of a shout out to Luke and the rest of the team. They've been running what they call a Masters series, which is you drive a different car every race and a different circuit every race. So jumping into the TCRs has always been a good thing. So just a shout out to their Master Series, which is hosted by Luke and the team. So take a look at it. It's worth a bit of fun, especially if you like to try something. Julian Familiaris, he's looking to go and have a bit of fun out there as well. Looking to try and charge his way through. So keep an eye on Julian Familiaris. Actually had a chat to him a little bit earlier out in the week, and he said he's been thoroughly enjoying these cars because they are a little bit easier to drive, a bit easier to go and do overtaking, and also, you know, it's just a lot of fun getting away from the more high-powered machinery like your GT3s, your Porsche Cup cars, and so on, and trying something that's going to be a little bit more exciting. Tristan de Norbrigge out in first place for the RDSA Esports. He is now getting chased down by Chase Herald. Chase trying to make up some ground. Byron Mitchell, he's up into second place and looking to move forward. Jan Fourie leading the championship puts himself into first place. Luc Lequesi jumping into second place. So the times are starting to roll in. And Oulton Park is one of these circuits that you can quite easily run off the side of the road and actually get an off track. So there's very, very strict rules on off tracks, and that's similar, if I can put it to anyone that's watched the Formula 1 this weekend, it's pretty much like Red Bull Ring. Richard Herring, he's out in 9th place. Yuri Swart Sr. is out on the circuit as well. Big welcome to Yuri Swart Sr., one of the new drivers just joining in for this race, and got to give him a bit of light here because it's good to see drivers jumping in. Even though it's towards the end of this season, still wants to give it a bit of a whack. And he's going to have to try and beat out Yuri Umpi Swart, who's looking to really carve his path through. Couple of times being deleted off, and that's why we're seeing only 9 valid times at the moment. Then we've got the likes of Arno Kraus. He managed to put himself into 10th place. He's trying to make a little bit of moves and shakes through the field as we've got more times being updated. So at the moment, William Botha leading out the field with a 128.5. Byron Mitchell beating him out with, Byron Mitchell doing that 128.5. Andrew Thomas jumping in with a 128.83. Yuri MP Swart doing a 128.91. William Botha following up with a 129. Jan Fourie down in 5th place. Tristan de Norbrigge, Chase Herald, Peter Joubert, Luc Lequesi, Paul Gerber, Terry Opperman has got himself into 12th place at the moment. Then we've got Arno Kraus, Etienne Swart, Yuri Swart Sr., Vaynard Kursop, who actually came off doing a endurance race not so long ago with Devon Dalport and the rest of his teammates of THLF Esports. So good to see that he's going and swapping it out from the usual LMP2 prototype into a TCR car. Robbie Teening's down in 17th and Richard Herring down into 18th position. So a couple of caveats where the guys have been talking about is finding their brake markers, because the circuit is a very difficult circuit to try and get your brake markers. You've got to really look for the trees, the bushes, and whatever that is around. Christian Deploy, he's jumping in. Christian Deploy actually finished up second in the GT3 RaceFace Championship that has just finished. So big shout out to Christian Deploy coming and joining in for the final round of the TCRs. Had to miss a couple of rounds due to prior commitments, but really wanted to be here for it and thoroughly enjoying it. Saying it's a little bit different to the usual ACC. He puts himself into 4th place, though, with incredible time. Gets knocked down into 5th. So, couple of guys really showing off what they can do. Couple of times you need to go on. Herman Lazarus, Nico Kellerman, and Francois Joubert still needing to climb up the ladder and still put in their valid times. Nico Kellerman actually needing to put his lap time, and Francois Joubert as well. So, times are starting to fall, running out of time in qualifying. Julian Familiaris, though, out in 1st place. Luke Lucchesi, only 0.1 of a second behind him. Jan Ferree, 0.13 behind him. So, as you can see, Jan Ferree really trying to close it down and do everything they can for these TCRs. A variety of TCR cars that are racing. We have got Audis, we've got Hyundais, we've got Hondas, and we've got guys just having a bit of fun. Whether you like the Elantra, the Veloster, the Honda Civic, whether you like the Audi RS4s, there's a car for everyone out here. And considering this is also a free track for the series, guys are able to have a bit of fun. The only thing they needed to do was purchase the TCR car, which you use in your entire iRacing career. So good to see the guys coming out and having a bit of fun. Also, heading into next season is going to be rather exciting. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the social medias, so head over to RaceFace.Pro, out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, to go and see all the upcoming races that are coming, and join us in the Discord as well. Good to have you guys around. But also go and hit the subscribe button along with the bell notification icon out on the YouTube. Herman Fenter going and also putting in a bit of support for Go Terry Venholm Bolla. So I think I got that horribly wrong. I do apologize. But Herman, good to see him going and having a bit of a chat there. So, you guys out on the RaceFace grandstands, it's good to have you guys here. It's good to have a little bit of fun. You're going to be joining me in this race right down to the wire for the likes of the debut season. Can you believe it? Season 1 is about to be done and dusted for the likes of RaceFace iRacing TCR League. And it's only going to get better. I just want to point out though, Christian Deploy going and submitting his photo out on SDK has got it sideways. I asked him, why did you put it sideways out of all things? He said generally he's sliding, so he needs to look at it a little bit skew. And that really shows. Herman Lazarus, though, for cheapercars.co.za, he's out on the circuit, put himself into 15th position at the moment, and he is really trying to climb it all the way up. Yuri Swart Sr. doing a fantastic job out there. Jan Ferree, he's currently lying in 4th place and giving a little bit of a tow. What looks to be Yuri Umpi Swart right behind him, trying to utilize that tow and get pulled along, especially for the last remaining seconds of qualifying. And with there's only less than 10 seconds left, every second counts. Every half a second, every 10th is going to have to count. Yuri Umpi Swart going and saying, that's him sorted. Richard Herring still trying to make his way through. He's got Paul Gerber right onto the back of him. That is really going to be pushing as hard as he can. Jan Ferree going and letting by and saying, right, give him a bit of gap and go for it. This is a series that's open to rookies and masters. Whether you're experienced, whether you are just starting out, this series is to go for it. But 24 cars on the grid is going to make things rather exciting. I've got to say, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the guys will be able to do and how they'll be able to push themselves that extra little mile come the end of it. So, as it stands at the moment, the guys just trying to complete their lap times, get it all in the bag. As we got Richard Herring trying to get a little bit further up. Byron Mitchell, he's currently in 3rd place, puts himself into 1st, a 1:28.04, beating out Yuri Umpiswat, Julian Familiaris in third place, Jan Ferrier in fourth, Luke Lucchese trying everything he can. He's currently lying in fifth place for the RDSA Pantera Racing Machine. Let's see if he'll be able to better his lap time. No, not able to get any higher than fifth. Sixth is Tristan de Norbrugge, Andrew J.S. Thomas, Christian Deploy going and unfortunately making a bit of a mess off on turrets. He's lying in eighth. Peter Jabert going and losing out. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at our grid while the drivers are lining up. Byron Mitchell out in first place with Yuri Swart in second place. Julian Familiaris, Jan Ferrier, Luke Lucchese, Tristan de Norbrugge, Andrew J.S. Thomas, Christian Deploy going and rounding out there. Paul Gerber, Chase Harold, Terry Opperman, Robbie Teenings, Herman Lazarus, Doug Gerber, Etienne Swart, Arno Kraus in 20th place. Moving further down, Etienne Swart in 19th, Arno Kraus in 20th, Wynand Kersop, Yuri Senior in 22nd, Yuri Swart Senior, 23rd, Nico Killerman, Richard Herring, and Troy Dolanchik rounding out in 25th. That, my friend, is a jump and a half. Troy Dolanchik was actually racing in the karting not so long ago. So, welcome, Troy. You jumped in right after quali. So, definitely going to be an exciting time there. But let's go and take a look from our blimp as the guys are all gearing up, ready to race. And it is going to be a race down to the wire. You can hear those turbos just going and whistling their way through. I think this is going to be an incredible race. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I see even Wynand Kersop has gone and put a bit of a wave in the chat. So, Wynand, why are you on your phone? You're going to be driving, buddy. And with a standing start, you want to keep all eyes on it. So, wobble from swerve to wobble. Keep an eye on the lights. Lights, first light, second light, third light, fourth light, 5 lights, and away we go. Green, 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 as we all launch off. Byron Mitchell getting a bit of a poor start. That's allowed Yuri Swart to dive up on the inside of him. Jan Ferrier having a great start as they maneuver their way through turn 1. Going a little bit 3 wide, some of them side by side as they launch their way through. Trying to get a little bit more of a jump. Now it's heading down into turn 2. And it's hard on the brakes not to run yourself out too far. Julian Familiaris says we got a couple of contacts further down. Guys holding the brakes. It's a bit of chaos at the back. Everyone having to take evasive actions as they move their way through. But it does look like Yuri Umpiswat now has got a problem. Byron Mitchell diving up on the inside. That's allowed Jan Ferrier to go and get a little bit closer. Julian Familiaris taking a look at Yuri Swart Sr. that was actually caught in that mess. Andrew now dealing with Christian Deploy in tow and definitely going for Pickle Rick at the moment as he's looking to try and move up into 5th place. 6th, we got Peter Jabert. He's keeping just ahead of William Bertha, who has got a fair amount of damage to the front of his car, but he's going to keep it all together. He's got Werner Swart right behind him. Francois Jabert trying to chase him down. Paul Gerber doing everything he can to try and close down the distance with Robbie Teenings trying to look for the inside line. Can't do it just as yet. Troy Dolanchik has moved out of 25th position. He's down into 13th as we've got another spin-off circuit. Chase Harold trying to do everything he can to make up some ground. I do think that it was likes of Richard Herring that got caught out. Doug Gerber trying to go after the likes of Chase Harold and Terry Opperman just ahead of him as they make their way through. All turning into a little bit of chaos. They do have one fast repair to get themselves back out onto the circuit. Wynand Kersop keeping into the tow. He's got Doug Gerber just ahead of him. But back up through the front of the field, it's Jan Ferrier with Yuri Umpiswat just ahead of him, going in for a battle. But Julian Familiaris is going to go and battle it out as the race for first place turning into a difficult one. Byron Mitchell trying to defend the inside line. Yuri Umpiswat in second place, trying to go for it. Jan Ferrier going defensive, dealing with Julian Familiaris at the moment. Battle for 4th, really heating up. Further down, Andrew Thomas has got Christian Deploy right in the toe of him and really pulling on. So within our top 10, we have got some massive, massive battles going on. And let's see how it's all going to turn out as time continues. Byron Mitchell, though, leading it out with Yuri Swart, looking in tow, trying to travel along. Remember, they've only got 30 minutes to make or break it around this circuit. And with Oulton Park being the way it is, it's always an incredibly difficult circuit to try and get yourself going and really not get too worn out. Jan Free got Julian Familiaris all over him. Andrew J. Thomas has got Christian Deploy trying to go a little bit later onto the brakes. Peter Jabert has got William Bertha right behind him. I just want to point out that Willem Bertha, not William, I do apologize, Willem Bertha has been doing a fantastic job despite missing the entire front end of his car. So advanced cooling on his car and has really been going and pushing that extra mile. We wanted to have the cameras in play for this race to see what's behind the scene. Unfortunately, still a little bit of kinks in that, but we will get that out to you guys as well, so you get to see all the amazing action that's going on. Werner Swart has got the likes of Francois Joubert right behind him and doing everything he can. So let's actually take a look at some of the incidents. We have got the likes of Wynand Kersop. This is a shot from him. And he landed up coming off the circuit. He's got Terry Opperman. Oh, nowhere to go. Colliding with one of the cars. And I think that was Nico Killerman. And yeah, death. Whole lot of death on that one. They were unalived. That is for certain. So some carnage towards the back. But the guys are really trying to do everything they can to keep going. Taking a look that we have got Yuri Swart Sr. He's going to be leaving the pits. Wynand Kersop's car's looking a little bit second hand. So is Nico Killerman out in the pits as well. So a couple of guys landing up with a bit of trouble. Yuri Swart trying to go and chase down for that second place. Remember, there is a fight for the championship. And that's all coming on our third place man over here. Jan Free is leading the championship. He's got Julian Familiaris just behind him. And with the championship being as close as it is, he cannot afford to lose our positions as Familiaris sends it up on the inside, makes it stick, and now is giving it everything he's got. Right behind, let's see if Free will get back into the tow and pull himself along. Seeing the battles up ahead, the first four incredibly close, but we cannot forget 5th and 6th Andrew Thomas with Christian Deploy giving chase as well, turning into a monstrous battle. Byron Mitchell not getting the drive that he wants out of the corner and has allowed Yuri Swart into the tow and really trying to close down the distance under braking. Let's see if you'll be able to do it. Really tucking the nose in. You've got to drive these cars on the brakes, and it's going to be a very, very interesting one to see how the guys cope with it. Actually, we had Devin Dalport jumping into the chat. Oculus Racing ZA. Part of the leader of the ZAR team, saying the advanced aero system doesn't work. He tried it at Laguna Seca. Yes, you did try it. You did come to the line with it. So let's see how it goes. But at the moment, Willem Bertha isn't being too phased with it at the moment. He goes after Peter Joubert. So, I mean, he's really giving it everything he's got at the moment. But it's turning into this race right the way through the field. The guys are pushing themselves. Byron Mitchell out in first place. Right behind him, literally 0.3 of a second, is Yuri Swart. Julian Familiaris in third. Jan Free in fourth. 5th, Andrew Thomas. Christian Deploy in 6th place. Peter Joubert. Willem Bertha. Werner Swart. Francois Joubert. Paul Herber going and trying to chase him down. Troy Dolenschik moved himself up into 12th position. Robbie Teenings going after him in 13th. Terry Opperman, he's in a little bit of no man's land at the moment, but in 14th place, has got a good drive. Doe Herbert trying to chase him down. Luke Lucchese also with a bit of damage to the front of his car. He's going to try and drive it out and get it to the end. So hats off to the guys that are going to really push it. I know it's not the easiest thing to deal with. Then we have got Richard Herring out trying to chase down Luke Lucchese. Etienne Swart trying to close it up. He's in 18th. 19th, Honor Kraus. Tristan de Norbrigger. Herman Lazarus. Wynand Kersop, though, going and saying, Steven. But I just want to point out, he wrote in the comments, and is driving. Wynand, buddy. Texting and driving. Bad idea. Don't do it. Yep. Wynand had a wobble, and that was T-boning another car. So unfortunately, had nowhere to go when he had a collision and had a bit of a breakdown. So he's out there going and putting on a great show. Still to see it. Byron Mitchell, though, has got Yuri Swart trying to chase down Yuri Umpi Swart. Let me get that one right, because we do have Yuri Swart Sr. He's out on circuit doing everything he can. The guys are starting to run those incident limits, though. Just one time you put your wheel off a circuit, you get a 1x. Now, they've got 17 X's that they can get on. 17 X's means that you get a drive-through penalty. 34 means that you disqualified completely out of the race. So the guys have to be very careful with dropping a wheel off the circuit every so often. So those incident limits are going to come into play for the drivers if Oulton Park has anything to say with it. Julian Familiaris, though, he's out in third place, with Jan Ferree losing a bit of time to him, and now has got Andrew Thomas right behind him. Andrew really pushing as hard as he can to close down the distance, and that's bringing Christian Deploy with Pickle Rick chasing him down. Then we've got Peter Joubert, who's opened up the gap to Willem Botha, but a battle that is starting to form a little bit further back is Werner Swart and Francois Joubert. Francois Joubert trying to close down on Werner Swart, really sliding the car around, trying to tuck it in. And this is going to be an incredible race down to the wire, I personally think. Questions being asked of, we're going to see the guys going at it next season. Yes, we will see the guys going at it next season. Will we see me in the car and Yanaman in the car? You're going to have to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to find out. That's for certain. Byron Mitchell, though, out in first place. And yeah, that's to you, Devon. I know you and I have got some very unfinished business between our races. But I'm looking forward to going wheels to wheels sometime. Yeah, maybe in the future. Byron Mitchell, though, dealing with Yuri Umpi Swart in second place, putting the pressure. That has allowed Julian Familiaris to close down the distance. This is your battle for first place at the moment. Not even 10 minutes have gone by, and the drivers are really trying to dig deep at this point, looking for that inside line. Does look like Byron Mitchell not getting the drive that he wants. That's allowing Yuri Umpi Swart to get right behind him. Julian Familiaris, though, is closing the distance to them. He has now closed it down to roughly about 0.5 of a second, has an opportunity to go for it. Our championship leader, though, down in fourth place, is losing time as he makes his way around the circuit. So something to be aware of. Julian Familiaris, though, last lap time was the best in the entire race, and that was a 127.8. So it's something to really keep an eye out for. As we bring up our battle box on the side, it shows what's been happening. Byron Mitchell, though, trying to gain up a little bit of time, has only got 0.1 of a second between himself and Yuri Swart, not being able to go and close down and open it up. So he's got to be so careful with it. And even when we take a look at our sectors, you can see that the likes of Yuri Umpi Swart is getting a little bit more drive and being able to close down the distance. So let's see how this is going to work out as they battle their way through each sector. Yuri Swart is faster in lap 4 and lap 5. Lap 6 was a bit slower. Lap 7 was faster. So Byron Mitchell's got to be so careful in this battle as third place is heating up. And now it's on to who can keep it all together. It does look like Familiaris, though, is faster through sector 3. He's lying in third place with Yuri Swart just ahead of him, not having the same amount of drive. So something we do need to keep an eye out for is Familiaris becoming a viable threat to this three-way battle. Byron Mitchell, though, leading out. Yuri Umpi Swart, Julian Familiaris, all going and slugging out. Further back, though, we do have a couple of battles going on. Now, I'm going to go and show them. We have got Peter Joubert and Willem Botha trying to close down onto the back of him. Even further than that, we got Werner Swart. He's dealing with Francois Joubert, trying to look up on the inside. Couldn't make it stick as they fight their way through. Back up to our front three, though. Byron Mitchell keeping on circuit. Yuri Umpi Swart going slightly off, getting a off track now right up against the back of him. Got Julian Familiaris, though, tucking into the toe, really pushing himself along. And this is going to be a proper run to the line. And I wonder how it's all going to go side by side as they heavy onto the brakes. Byron Mitchell just locking it in. Yuri Swart doing a little bit of touring car action, getting it in. Tristan de Norberger losing out of position to Etienne Swart, just taking a look there. Tristan Nordbrugger not having the easiest race and is falling down the field, so he's got to keep an eye on the race at hand and keep it all together. I mean, this is a type of circuit where you've got to keep the rhythm, you've got to keep it going and see how you can keep yourself on track right the way through. So let's see how it's all going to go. But one thing I do want to bring up is the guys are going to start getting closer as we bring up our track map, because you can see that Byron Mitchell is actually starting to close down on 21st position, which is Herman Lazarus. Herman Lazarus is going to be keeping an eye on his relatives and getting a bit of chats from the back saying, listen, we've got cars coming. Veynon Kersop, he's a little bit further ahead, so he's not too worried at the moment with Nico Killerman trying to chase him down. Yuri Swart Sr., he is in a bit of a run. He's trying to let one of the cars go. Good to see Yuri Swart Sr., and congratulations. Good to see you out onto the circuit. Chase Harold also, unfortunately, retiring the car at hand. Christian Deploy, he's going and fighting it out, going after Andrew Thomas, who has got likes of Free just ahead of him, but our 3-car chain, first, second, and third, still incredibly close. I mean, they within under a second between Byron Mitchell, Yuri Umpiswad, Julia Familiaris to go and battle it out as they fight their way through. Do want to bring out here Richard Herring keeping ahead of Tristan de Norbrugger. These two actually know each other very well, part of the RDSA scene. So good to see that Richard Herring is getting a proper run against Tristan de Norbrugger. But Tristan's not going to make it easy for him and going to make life incredibly difficult. Troy Dolanchik, I see, is getting an off track. He went off track and came back on. So the guys are having to really keep an eye on those incident limits at the moment. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, out there on the grandstands, who do you think is going to be part of the guys to get first place? Byron Mitchell, Yuri Umpiswat, Julian Familiaris, Jan Ferry, or maybe we have got a dark horse LB a little bit further back. And I see Tristan de Norbrugger, though, having an incident. Let's actually go and take a look. So, hitting the wall, coming back on, having a problem. And that has pretty much ended his race for getting a bit of repair. I think he landed up going and collecting with the wall and having to be very, very cautious on his tow back to the pits. Not having the most successful run, but is still putting it out there. Byron Mitchell, though, Yuri Umpiswat, Julian Familiaris keeping tow. And you can see how close Yuri is pushing onto the back of Byron Mitchell to try and cause him to make a mistake as they fight their way through. Jan Ferry down in 4th place, seeing this battle going on, sees the 3-car train, but takes a look in his mirrors. Andrew Thomas and Christian Deploy are not too far behind. Then we've got Peter Joubert, Willem Bertha, who I've got to say, 8th place with damage still going. Great to see it. Francois Joubert, he's got ahead of Werner Swart, Paul Gerber right onto the back of him. Troy Dolanchik a little bit further back. Robbie Teenings, Terry Opperman, Doe Gerber. A little bit further down, he's in 15th. Luke Lucchesi trying to make up a bit of time. Etienne Swart, he's dealing with Arno Kraus, who's looking inside, outside, looking to go on the outside. Is this going to work? Trying to cut back. Not going to do it. Going to understeer like crazy, and you're going to have to try and keep it all on track. Then you have got Richard Herring. He's got a bit of damage to the back of his car, and he's trying to keep himself going. Herman Lazarus trying to close down the distance. Veynon Kersop, he's having a great time out there. Nico Killerman, and I've got to point it out, Yuri Swart Sr. giving the fight to the likes of Richard Herring, who's in 19th, he's in 23rd, but is going to stick it out till the fight on the end. Absolutely incredible stuff. But back up to our first place battle, which is still the 3-car train. They have been like this, nose to tail racing properly between all 3 of them. And let's see how it's all going to work. All very experienced sim racing drivers right the way through the field. I just want to point out they're very experienced drivers in not only the real world, but also out in the sim racing world. We do have some big names coming in, joining us, not only from a sim racing aspect, but also from the real world aspect. The guys just going and getting their elbows in. Jan Ferry maintaining that 4th place. Andrew Thomas trying to chase him down in 5th. Christian Deploy, who is also trying to close down the distance. Peter Joubert has got Willem Bertha doing everything he can to close down the distance. Francois Joubert has got Werner Swart with Paul Gerber chasing him down. Troy Dolenchik getting a little bit closer as well, trying to claw back the little bit of the battle going on. Arno Kraus has got the likes of Etienne Swart just ahead of him. Just doesn't seem to have the same cornering as him. So as we're taking a look through the field, the guys are definitely bouncing around. Richard Herring, though, C has pulled in the pits. He has sustained damage to the front of his car, which tells me that slide off into the dirt landed up with a problem. And I mean, it's unfortunate we do see things like that, but it's kind of the part and parcel as we see the likes of Yuri Swart dives up on the inside. And Byron Mitchell, now it is a drag race side by side between the two. But it does look like Byron Mitchell managing to have a little bit more straight line with the Audi. Yuri trying everything he can to come back at him. And then you've got Julian Familiaris. He's just waiting for the gap to open up and go for the charge as they battle away through. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Nose to tail racing. I actually asked the drivers, I said, listen, you've got teams here. Are you using team orders, getting to play with it? And I was told an echoed no. This is for pride. This is for ego. This is for finishing in first place. You may be my teammate out on some of the racetracks, but here tonight, there's blood in the water, and we demand a sacrifice of guys getting all the way through to the front. So it's good to see that the guys are throwing away the team champion, the whole team order thing, and rather go and stick it in a proper fight. It's fight night here at RaceFace for the TCR Season 1 Championship here on iRacing, and it's all open to you guys. We have got more iRacing coming in the future, so keep an eye on the social media, because not only have we got iRacing, we have got ACC out as well. A little bit further down, we have got Christian Deploy. He's going after Andrew J.S. Thomas. Christian Deploy, part of the Genesis Esports team, dives up on the inside, contact with Andrew Thomas, not able to get the drive out. So Christian Deploy really doing everything he can to try and close down the distance to Andrew just ahead of him. Andrew managing to just keep that gap at the moment as they fight their way through. He's keeping it all in check, but let's see how it's going to go. Christian Deploy finishing second in the ACC, the RaceFace, the Grid Championship, brought to you by Metal State and RaceFace. He came second in that championship. He's now fighting it out in 6th place with Andrew Thomas ahead of him, who's very, very experienced to keep going. I see Richard Herring has also come back onto the scene, which is absolutely phenomenal stuff to see the guys slugging it out all the way through. A little bit further back, though, just going to give a little bit of love to the guys. A little bit further down, Arno Kraus, Etienne Swart still going at it with one another as well. So let's take a look at who's where. As I see, we've got the guys mixing and moving on our timing screen. Byron Mitchell out in first place. Yuri Umpiswad in second. Julian Familiaris trying to chase him down. This is where we see Yuri getting a little bit more lively under braking. He's able to close it up. Not able to do it this time. Does look for the inside, but has got Byron Mitchell stopping dead on the apex. You got Jan Ferry out in 4th place. Christian Deploy. Andrew Thomas in 6th. Peter Joubert in 7th. 8th, Willem Boertha. Francois Joubert. Paul Gerber. Etienne Swart. Troy Dolenchik. Robbie Teenings. Terry Opperman also is out there in the Pepsi machine. Shout out to the Pepsi machine of Terry Opperman. I think that's become one of the most iconic cars out on the circuit, because we saw Pepsi and KFC slug it out. Just taking a look, though. Boertha going the wrong way, looking a little bit bent. And let's see what happened to him as we make our way through. Now, this is heading into the chicane. And did he lock it up? Tries to get it through. Oh, well. Did put a warning out to the guys that the tires don't move. And that's exactly what happened there. Cut the corner a little bit too much and piled into the tires, causing severe damage to his car and unfortunately putting him down the order. He will have a fast repair to get himself back out there. He saved it, which is brilliant. But with the race coming closer and closer to a close. He's got to be very, very careful of that. Julian Familiaris on the last lap was the quickest out on the circuit, a 1:27.70. And, oh, well done to Yuri Umpi Swat, diving up on the inside of Byron Mitchell, pulling a bit of a dummy move. Byron Mitchell now trying to chase him down, doing everything he can to try and close down the distance. But Yuri just doing that. That's a switchback, and I don't think Byron Mitchell was expecting it. Now he's got Julian Familiaris with the bit between his teeth. He was faster than Byron Mitchell. Last lap time of Byron Mitchell was a 1:27.8. Julian Familiaris a 1:27.7. So a tenth of a second to make it or break it for his race. Then you got Jan Ferree a little bit further back. He's watching the guys starting to leave, going 5 seconds back here at Oulton Park. Christian de Ploy trying to chase him down. Andrew Thomas losing out of position to Christian de Ploy, who's moved himself into 5th place. Peter Joubert now has got the bit between his teeth. 8th place, Francois Joubert, Paul Gerber, Werner Swart, Troy Dolenchik, Robbie Teenings, Terry Opperman also making his way through. Doe Gerber has got Luke Lucchese all over the back of him. And Luke Lucchese, I think, is still sporting the damage from early on in the race. There it is. He's still trying to keep it all going. Tries to look around the outside. Doe's not going to make it easy. Luke Lucchese is also going to return the favor, pushing him out onto the marbles as they drive their way through. So Luke Lucchese getting ahead of Doe Gerber. Doe trying to come back around the outside. Is he going to be able to make it stick, though? I think not. Luke Lucchese just eyeing himself out. Doe actually having to counter steer and save the car. Arno Kraus a little bit further back. He's in 16th position. 17th, Etienne Swart, Herman Lazarus, Willem Bertha, Venan Kursop, Nico Kilman, Yuri Swart Sr., big shout out to him. Richard Herring, unfortunately, he's got severe damage to his car, along with Tristan de Norbrigger, who has retired, and Chase Herald as well has retired. So a couple of cars have unfortunately retired from the race. Damage was just too extensive. The mechanics saying, listen, buddy, it's done. Sorry, but that's that. And that's all she wrote. And it happens. It really, really happens in TCR racing. But I want to point out to you guys that our leaders are now closing down on the back markers as Urian P. Swart. You can see that number 1 on the mini-map is currently going after what looks to be 18th place. That's Herman Lazarus, who's actually been overtaken by Nico Kilman. Nico Kilman trying to go and close down the distance. So they have just got one of the back markers ahead of them. So he's got to be so careful on this, because it is going to change things very, very quickly. And very, very busy out on the circuit for the guys. And this is where it's going to be interesting for Urian P. Swart. Can he get past, or will he be boxed in by Byron Mitchell and Julian Familiaris, who are seeing the guys ahead of him and knowing, listen, here's an opportunity. This is our time. Urian P. Swart doing quickest lap time, 1:27.58 as his run. So let's see if that's going to make a bit of a difference as they go hard onto the brakes. So in the background, though, Herman Lazarus going to be keeping a very close eye on his mirrors. And unfortunately, I have got it tinted out at the moment. I will fix that. But you can see how he's just trying to keep it all in order. He'll be watching the relatives. He'll be watching the delta and realizing that the guys are starting to close down on him. Our leaders are not going to make it easy, especially considering we're into the final remaining minutes of this race. 26 minutes and 30 seconds completed of our 30-minute race, and it is going to be an outright charge. Tim the cameraman giving us all the shots, so a big shout out to Tim the cameraman. Did you know that Tim the cameraman started designing Formula 1s before Adrian Newey? Now you know. One day we'll have Tim the cameraman being the Stig. So, Yuri P. Swart's got Byron Mitchell now seeing the likes of Herman Lazarus just ahead. This is going to be a charge right down to the line, though. Herman Lazarus just seeing Nico Kilman ahead as Byron Mitchell looks for the inside line. He was unable to do it. Julian Familiaris backing out of it, realizing maybe I should just give him a bit of room and come for him. He went slightly off track in doing so and scored a incident point. Now remember, they've only got 17 to play with, otherwise they will get a drive-through penalty. And that's something you cannot afford, especially into the closing stages of the race. Jan Ferree a little bit further back, keeping an eye on the battle as well. So now it is turning into the race for the top 3. And I do apologize that we're only keeping an eye on the top 3 at the moment, but they are the closest races at the moment. Other guys are about 1.5 seconds spacing between one another. So, I mean, this is how close the racing has gotten. Some guys are being a little bit more relaxed. That is what Oulton Park does. It weighs you down, and you eventually start trying to find your rhythm. But you can't get your foot out of it. You've really got to keep the pressure on. Otherwise, you will make mistakes that will cost you valuable time around the circuit. Iracing Swart, though, keeping ahead of Byron Mitchell. All 3 of them running off circuit. And now this shows lights flashing as Herman Lazarus is getting told by Iracing Swart that, listen, I'm coming through. And take a look. Herman Lazarus is really keeping out of the way. He dives all the way onto the dirt saying, guys, you have your fun. I'm going to keep going. And I'll check you guys later. Nico Killerman is next, though. He's going to be looking in his rearview mirror, seeing the likes of first, second, and third, closing down the distance onto him. He's gave a little bit of room, realized they're a little bit too far back to go for the pass, so he's going to just hang it out. And with time ticking on, this is where you got to play it up, whether you want the leaders to get past you or not. And I think he didn't get much of an opportunity there. He actually goes and backs off, so well done to the likes of Nico Killerman, backing off, allowing the guys to go. It does compromise his race. He's going after Veynon Kersop, but it is going to be absolutely incredible stuff to see how the guys are moving their way forward. And yeah, this is going to be more and more exciting as time goes on. But with the last lap being shown, one more lap for our leaders, white flag, as we have got our marshals going and showing that it is time to make it or break it here at Oulton Park for the final round of the RaceFace iRacing TCR Championship Season 1, a debut season, and it is going to be blasting their way through down to the wire at this point. And it does look like Iracing Swart opening up a distance. Byron Mitchell going on the defensive. He has got Julian Familiaris trying to go around the outside of him, not able to do it. Now back into the toe, going to try and slingshot his way through. Now it's down into the hairpin, and it's going to be a battle all the way through. Hard on the brakes. Can he make it sink? Nope, not just as yet. Byron Mitchell going a fraction later, does run out a little bit wide, losing a little bit of time, a little bit slower through that last sector, as he's got to be so careful of it. There is our sector times at the moment. Familiaris being a little bit closer through sector 1 and 2, losing out through sector 3. Now it's into sector 4. This is only a couple of corners to go before they battle it out to the wire. But Iracing Swart opening up the distance. Byron Mitchell feeling the pressure. Julian Familiaris up on the inside. What? Trying to go around the outside. I do apologize. Trying to make it stick. Not able to do it. But coming across the line, taking the checkered flag for the final round of the RaceFace TCR Championship goes to Iracing Swart. Second place, Byron Mitchell narrowly keeping ahead by 0.2 of a second to Julian Familiaris. Jan Ferree taking 4th place. Christian Deploy in 5th. Andrew Thomas taking 5th place with Peter Jabert right behind him. Francois Jabert in 8th. 9th is going to be Paul Herber. Werner Swart coming across the line. Troy Dolenschik, who started in 25th, finishing in 11th place after a run. Then you got Robbie Teenings chasing him down. Terry, the Pepsi Man Opperman. So give it up for Terry. I know there's a lot of Terry fans out there. Finishing in 13th place. Luke Lacazzi coming across the line with damage. I just want to point out, broken car, still finished. Well done. Paul Herber. That's Doug Herber in 15th place. 16th Arno Kraus, Etienne Swart. Herman is Lazarus a little bit further behind. But Etienne Swart doing everything he can to keep up the momentum. Will be finishing up in 17th place. Herman Lazarus has finished in 18th. Willem Bertha done well. He's in 19th position. And what a run for him. Then we have got Veynon Kersop in 20th. 20th, Nico Killerman, Iracing Swart Sr. coming across the line, 22nd first time outing. done a fantastic job. Richard Herring, unfortunately, having to retire the car. Tristan de Norberger and Chase Herald rounding out. So here is our results, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for our races. Yuri Swart in first place. Byron Mitchell, Julian Familiaris. Then we have got the likes of Jan Ferry, Christian Deploy, Andrew Thomas, Peter Gibert, Francois Gibert, Paul Gerber, and the likes of Werner Swart. Moving down the list, Troy Dolanchik, Robbie Teenings, Terry Opperman, Luke Lucchesi, Doug Gerber, Arno Kraus, Etienne Swart, Herman Lazarus, Willem Bertha, Vanon Kursop, Nico Killerman, Yuri Swart Sr., Richard Herring, Tristan Norberger, and Chase Herald rounding out our grid. Well, what a run of note. And I've got to say, absolutely fantastic stuff. This is our current championship points heading into our race. They will be updated. But I can confidently say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can crown our first RaceFace TCR champion here in iRacing. And that goes out to Johan Ferry taking first place and becoming the first champion. Congratulations, Johan Ferry. Luke Lucchesi, and we'll be having a bit of fun. So as we wait for the points to go and update, we'll only know, but this is just showing prior to the round, but we can confirm Jan Ferry going and finishing out in first place. So absolutely incredible stuff here at Oulton Park. We're going to actually get a couple of guys to have a chat to. And first into the interview box, let's have a first chat to the Genesis Esports driver. And that goes out to Christian Deploy. Christian, great job out there. Lots of fun. You've jumped from a GT3 car last week, last minute jumping into a TCR car, and then managing to finish yourself in a very high position, 5th place. How are you feeling?
Yeah, these cars are crazy. And this game as well. It's fun.
No, it's
What can I say?
And the race itself didn't look easy. Andrew Thomas kept you really slugging it out right to the end. How are you feeling with the race, how it's gone? Take us through the start of the race and just with everything that has happened and, getting into 5th place.
It was actually a bit crazy at the start. There was some carnage in turn 2, which somehow I managed to dodge everyone. And then, me and Andrew, he actually pulled away a bit, and then for some reason he slowed down near the end. I don't know if he had damage or something, so I managed to get past somehow. And then I just wanted to put in the laps. That was basically it. I see the top 3 were very close, but I couldn't keep up at all.
Yeah, they're 0.2 of a second between first and second place. But Christian, absolutely phenomenal drive for you joining in the last round. You missed a couple of rounds. But from your experience of the RaceFace iRacing TCR Championship Season 1, what's your thoughts on the championship, considering it's a debut championship, it's a new run for RaceFace, especially jumping into iRacing, and it would be nice to hear your thoughts as the Genesis Esports driver and getting to have a bit of fun at the front.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. I never really thought much of iRacing before this. So this is a good opportunity for people to actually do some other stuff, which is great. The format was cool as well. I really enjoyed it, even though I had to miss 2 rounds because of other stuff. But I'm sure it looks like the iRacing boys are very, very, very happy. So from my side, it looks like it's a big success. And if you look back on the streams as well, it's always very entertaining from your side. You are doing a very good job. And I think the whole series has just been a major success from the RaceFace side.
So I've got to ask, will you be back to take the fight to the front and see if you can take the crown away from Johan Ferry?
If I can afford it, depending on what the next cars and tracks are. That's the only thing. It's the costs. But I don't know. These guys are super quick. I was surprised myself how quick they are. So I don't know even if I do have everything.
Well, I can confirm that with the TCR Championship, we will be sticking to mostly free tracks. Maybe we might have one paid track that comes into play, but that's still to be decided. So still trying to keep it budget orientated for the guys to come in and have a bit of fun. So with that being said, I hope to see you back to go and slug it out. And is there anything you want to say from your side, a challenge out there, a thank yous or anything going out to everyone? The microphone is yours. Remember, safe for work.
Don't want to challenge anyone because I don't know the people from iRacing. I just want to thank all of the drivers actually. If it wasn't for most of the drivers that were so interested, then this league would not have happened, and I wouldn't have enjoyed myself tonight. So thanks to them, thanks to the RaceFace guys, and to yourself for actually organizing this. I know you had a big hand in it, and bringing us the streams, even though Janaman is slacking a bit with his commentary these days. But no, otherwise, yeah, I just want to say thank you to the guy that's organizing it. It was really fun.
I'm glad you had a huge amount of fun out there. It was great to see you. And from going and trying out something new that's a little bit different to the racing that you're familiar with. So a big thank you to Christian Deploy. Congratulations on the first place. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right, now moving into one of the other drivers that didn't quite make the end, but was in a bit of a race for quite some time, is the Black Ribbon Simulations driver with Sparker written all over his car. And that goes out to, well, I'm going to say it, I'm probably going to get in trouble. Richard, I'll panel beat it later hearing.
Hey Steve, how's it going? Thanks for the airtime. Firstly, for the only rookie on the field, and if you could define getting it wrong in this last race, I think with a pretty much 1 hour repair time sitting in the pits, I just took a walk. This track and I weren't friends, but yeah, man, thank you so much for what you've been doing, dude. I just wanted to say thank you. Your commentary's been just unbelievable this whole series.
Well, it's a team effort, not only with the commentary side, but also to the admins and to you guys, the drivers, the spectators, the teams, the family members, all making it possible. But Oulton Park, never been your strongest suit. It's one of these tight circuits that either it works or it doesn't sort of work. But your takeaway with the championship, this was your first iRacing championship to jump into, and first South African major championship that you've jumped into, other than your previous time with Logistical Nightmare and RaceFace in terms of the ACC. This is a different completely sim to what you used to.
Yeah, I actually haven't competed properly since my little dude was born, and that's been, going on 3 years now. So I've picking up my socks a little bit and going and doing some real driving. But also, like you said, Oulton Park not really being my friend. As you probably know, Steve, I do a ton of rallycross in this. So even just the sticky stuff of an actual track took a little bit of learning, took a little bit of figuring out in some of the respects. And this TCR is, geez, it's either your friend or it's not. Hey, it's either just magic or it fights you every step of the way. So it was a big learning curve. I think I paid lots of school fees with the panel beating costs that this team has to incur with every time I have to fix my car. But yeah, man, as a championship goes, like I'm just so happy to be racing again. What a game iRacing! Like it's got me tooth and nail basically. It's got its hooks in.
Well, it's made you get a membership to join in for the next one. But Richard, congratulations, well done, buddy. And
thanks, Steve.
Thank you so much for joining us. But is there anything you would like to say in closing from your side before we leave you off the mic?
More iRacing. We must do more. That's all I want. Just more.
Let's convince Eddie Francis.
I think so.
All right. Well, Eddie Francis of Monday Night Racing for anyone that wants to take a look at some social racing. Big thank you to Richard Herring. Glad to have you. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Steve. Have a good one.
Now joining in the box, and I'm going to say it, gets more supporters in the grandstands than I've seen in a long time, and that goes to Terry Opperman in the Pepsi machine. Terry, thank you for joining us in the commentary box. How are you feeling after that race? I mean, you had a little bit of a lonesome moment, but the start was a bit hairy for you.
Yeah, I would definitely say it wasn't the best start conditions. It was quite hairy out there, so the guys swarmed you from left and right, and there was literally no space to go, so you had to climb out of the throttle. But it was a good race after all. I tried to keep my head clean, just get the car out there, get the job done, and just see the end of the race, and not the trailer on the way back home with a broken car.
Oh,
So
fair enough on that one. But throughout the season, you've been getting better, and improving every step of the way. You've been pushing yourself. You're really going and putting in that extra mile of work in the car. And I mean, you've built up a bit of a rivalry. We saw you and Doug Herbert early on in the season. You guys were having a good fight tooth and nail. And then it's come down to this race where you actually managed to finish out quite high up in the running. So I mean, it's absolutely fantastic to see you really going and putting in that extra tooth and nail, getting it all the way to the front and finishing out in 13th place, 3 down from the top 10. But I can put my hand here and say I think you're going to finish out in the top 10, maybe even go and take the crown away from the likes of our current champion Jan Ferree, who managed to take the championship. I think you have a opportunity to do it come the next season. But Terry, to all your fans out there, to all the guys that want to get started, just give us a summary of your thoughts of this championship, and what's the next step for Mr. Opperman?
well, I would definitely say me and Doe did have a bit of a rivalry. I saw him in the race once, but I kind of blocked him, but it wasn't on purpose. It's just trying to avoid any contact and, wrecking the cars. So if I pushed him off in the race, I'm sorry for that, but it's a racing incident from my point of view. Yeah, it was really fun to be a part of this league. There's really a very how can I say? There's a lot of guys that's just extremely quick. So it was a struggle to keep up with their lap times, but I just tried to keep my head clean, keep my nose clean, and just try to do the best I can. This is the first league that I joined and did online racing in. So it's still new to me. I've only been driving iRacing for a year now. So the rig I'm in is still limited. I mean, I'm running an old Logitech G29 that's a hand-me-down from Peter Hubert that he's loaning me. So I don't have the $1 million setups and iRacing gear that most of the guys out there have. But it's what you can make do with what you have. That's at the end of the day what counts. So yeah, it was extremely fun. I just tried to compete with the guys, see where I stack up with some of the fastest guys out there. And yeah, it was extremely fun. Coming from what's next, I definitely going to be joining season 2. I think it's going to be very fun. The TCR cars was just so extremely difficult to handle. So yeah, I'm definitely joining the next season, and I'm trying to get my name out there, see if I can make it into the big leagues.
Well, you made it into the big leagues in everyone's heart out in the grandstands, that's for certain. Terry, before we let you go, anything you want to say from your side, thank yous or challenges, or just going and talking out to the crowd there? The microphone is yours. Just remember, safe for work, but you're more than welcome to say, hey, listen, Doe, I'm going to get you next time, or go and chuck in out a challenge, or thank anyone for the stuff. Mike is yours.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to all my supporters out there, family members and friends that I invited to and sent the links to watch the racing. I know you guys didn't see me a lot out there, as I'm not in the front runners, but thanks for the support. I really, really appreciate you guys. Thanks to my mentor, Peter Hubert. He got me into racing and has been teaching me everything I know and that he knows. So a very big shout out to him for all the help that he's been giving me. And it's just a challenge to all the guys out there that think, listen, this is a great racing season. Get a entry level Logitech wheel rim. Really, you don't need to go out and get the best stuff out there. Just get a PC that will run iRacing, a single monitor, and an entry level pedal system, and you can have the world's fun. So, just to all the guys out there, if you want to join in, come join in. This is lovely racing.
Thank you very much, Terry. Good to have you, and we'll see you next time for some more racing and maybe catch up on the off season as well. Terry Opperman, everyone there, and joining in the commentary box. And I've got to say, he's kicked the door down. I bolt locked it, and he still kicked the door down, and I'm a little bit disappointed. You're running a new livery, but the legendary livery that we saw earlier on. Doe, what a race out there. That was turning into a little bit of a crazy start for everyone at the start of the race. A couple of cars getting sideways, a couple of cars a little bit more dinged up. But all in all, some fantastic racing. I mean, just taking a look at the top speed of the cars, guys getting close to 200 kilometers an hour in a race is just incredible, especially here at Oulton Park. This is the island setup. It's not the international setup that people are used to, going more follow the BTC CEC route. But from your side, you've been having a bit of fun in the background with the setups. You've been having a bit of fun going and chatting to the different drivers. Take us through the start of your race and right to finishing up in 15th position.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen. I'll give the quick rundown of the race. I had a very, very good start today, I must say. Seems like I've got the clutch under control now. So definitely a much better start than I've had in the past. Into turn, I think it was into turn, call it turn 3, if the left-hander. I saw there was some incident that took place there, so it was just taking it very cautiously through there and trying to avoid hitting anybody. Managed to get through there unscathed, and I'd say for the next 2 to 3 laps, it was for me it was very, very tight racing with the guys around me. There was another incident, and then I managed to grab I think 2 or 3 places by cutting some grass on the left-hand side after turn 1. Managed to avoid that incident as well, and made up a few places to finish up in, I think it was 15th. So overall, happy with the race. I was a little bit in no man's land. At one point, I had probably about a half a lap battle with Luke. That didn't last very long. He's much quicker than me, obviously. So yeah, it was fun. The TCR cars are a massive amount of fun. But just to echo what Terry was saying, very difficult to drive, and I think very difficult to drive fast. It's a car that you get into, and initially it feels a bit slow, maybe, and stuff like that. But you very quickly realize that it's a car that does take a lot of effort to drive fast. So definitely we'll be working on it in the off season and trying to see if I can get some tips maybe from the faster gentleman. But before we hand over to Richard, I see Richard Herring is in the booth here as well. We'll give you a gap now, Richard, to also just say something. But I just wanted to quickly, on behalf of RaceFace.Pro and all our good sponsors and that we do have in the league, just want to say a big shout out and thank you to you guys for making it happen. Stephen, once again, thank you so much for the broadcasting. We do really appreciate it. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible in terms of getting it out there in the world of YouTube. And I think also just a big shout out to all the drivers, guys. Without the drivers, the event doesn't happen. So we really appreciate the support and the guys coming back week after week to come and battle it out. Thank you so much. And I think that's it from my side. But yeah.
Well, I mean, there is more to come, ladies and gentlemen. So keep an eye on the social media out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also hit the subscribe button with the bell notification icon. Now, there is plenty more to come. We haven't seen the last of this. We've just crowned our first champion. I'm going to ask the very, very tricky question here, and I'm going to see if I'm going to get in trouble Well, let's see it. I'm usually getting in trouble. Though you're behind the scenes with Paul, helping create the stuff. What is next for the iRacing in RaceFace? I know that we're going to have a TCR Championship Season 2, and far as I'm aware, it might be running a little bit longer this time. Are we able to get hints, or do we have to keep our eyes on social media?
Yeah, I think keep an eye on the social media. We have a couple of ideas of what we want to do for season 2. Season 2 will probably definitely be running on a weekly basis, not bi-weekly like we did this time around. But we'll most likely be alternating between different, 2 different series. So possibly, the same track. So first Tuesday would be one could be TCR, and then the following week it would be a different car, but the same track. So just to kind of keep it so that the guys obviously don't have to put too much time into preparation and things like that for a different track every week. We'll probably keep the tracks the same, for the 2 weeks that the 2 different series run. But that's the big news. I think at this stage we'll still confirm what the series will be, but the big news at this stage is that the iRacing series will be running weekly come season 2.
Yeah, well, a big thank you to everyone joining us and echoing what has been said. A big thank you to you guys, the spectators, the drivers, the teams, the family members, the cats, dogs, and pets that have all come to enjoy the racing. We're glad to have you guys, and we're very thankful for everything that has gone on. You guys have really put on a fantastic show. You give us all the information, you give us all the fun, and we look forward to seeing how it's all going to turn out. But let's take a look at the results just one final time. Jan Ferry finishing out in first place, Luc Lecchesi, Francois Joubert, Paul Gerber. This is our championship standings. It isn't the final championship standings. That will be going out on social media, but a big congratulations to Ferry on the championship win. That is for certain. So from my side and Janneman Price's side, we'd like to say thank you very much for having us in your homes, irritating, making your ears going red, and definitely drinking all the soda that you've got, maybe a cup of coffee or 2. And a big thank you from all our sponsors and also RaceFace.Pro. Glad to have our sponsors jumping on board. Lots more to come, ladies and gentlemen, not only for the world of iRacing, but also for the world of Assetto Corsa Competizione, as we will be restarting with our Assetto Corsa Competizione soon. And keep an eye out on the social media for that, because it is going to be a proper banger as we run down to the line. My name is Stephen Koenig, and on behalf of Doe Gerber, who's currently in the box, and myself, we'd also like to say a big thank you to the likes of Bertus Hugo, who made this come a little bit more alive and a little bit more possible. It's good to have it. But we'll see you guys next time, same place. Hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.
Cheers.